Hey, if you've made it here, you're probably an agency owner who's thinking, how do I spend more time growing my business as opposed to spending time on the operations and figuring out how to set up all of the systems to make it grow? And when I was an agency owner, we were scaling insanely fast. We grew to 1 million in revenue in the first year, hired 20 contractors and employees, and there were just so many issues that we had to work through. So with a business, there's always the CRM, managing your clients and your customers, and then the delivery side, managing the projects, managing the people working on the projects, doing resource planning. And the more that we were working with our clients who were agency owners, typically with 5 to 50 employees, and when they get to about 10, 15, that's when the Excel processes begin to break down. And what we realized is everyone wanted a connected system, the CRM to connect to the project management system, to connect to the invoicing system. And that's why we created ServeSwift, as to have everything all in one place. So in our beginning stage, we have our CRM and the contract management tool. So that way you can manage all of your client communications and all of your contracts in one location. Project management and the invoicing features will be coming down the road. So let's dive in. So when you come to ServeSwift, the first thing that you'll notice is some of the main features that we have. So the CRM, that's the main functionality where we're going to connect your email, video calls, phone calls, everything's going to come into the CRM. And that is for your entire team. There's some settings that we'll go through today, and that's going to be our main focus, is setting up the CRM because that's where it all starts. After you have the CRM set up, then sending out proposals, contracts, being able to do that with AI. So that way you don't have to create a custom proposal or generate a custom contract every time. So that'll be part two. And then part three will be everything else with the setup. So working with your client portal, and that is for your clients. So the idea would be as you're working with your clients, they could come on, see the contracts that they've signed, and then down the road when we have project management, everything will be in one view for your clients to view where the status of the projects are at. That's a problem that we had quite frequently at when I was scaling our service company, is that clients would ask where things are at, and I think internally we knew where it was, but that communication, it's important to have calls and connect with clients, but also having an automated way to view all of the invoices that need to be paid, for example, and then also automating the invoice process. That was all just a very difficult, cumbersome process. So let's dive into setting up the CRM. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here, and we'll continue with our Google account. And with Google, it'll let you set everything up. If you want to use email sign in, you can. I'm not going to add a logo, but if you would like to, you can as well. So that logo would go on your proposals. It'll also go on your contracts once you add it. And then once we come in here, we're going to connect our email account. So you'll notice with Gmail, if you're connecting it, you'll get this message here that it hasn't verified. It'll probably be a couple of months before the verification process is complete. So for now, just click go to ServeSwift, and then you'll be able to continue. Okay, so once you're logged in, you should come to this accounts page, and you'll see that nothing is set up quite yet. So before going through and setting up an account and getting started with the actual process to create a contract, I'm going to come into the settings here to just orient ourselves on how everything's connected. So if I come to the integrations, we'll see that the Gmail connector is there. And there's a few different options here. So one of these is to import the last 30 days. So if you want historical data, we'll pull up to the last 30 days for you and the team. And with this, it's an individual connection. So your account may be connected to Gmail. If you have other team members, they also need to go through the same process, and it would be their individual account that's connected to the CRM. But everyone will have access to see everyone else's activities and then account data that is coming through. So it's a shared view, and that's why these settings are so important with Gmail. The idea is that you want only your clients to come in. So if there's personal data or personal emails that are going through, or just those marketing emails that come through. You don't want that polluting your CRM. So the default is to only pull in emails from outbound if you're sending emails or if the contact is in the CRM. Then it will pull that data in. If you want to be more restrictive and say like, no, we're only going to manually set up the contacts in our CRM. We only want communication with those contacts coming into the CRM. Then you can restrict it further by saying contacts only. With this, if there ever is an issue with sensitive data that comes through, just make sure to go to your CRM and delete those activities so that the rest of your team isn't able to see it. But I'm going to go ahead and import the last 30 days so that we can see how that data comes through with the activities. So there's a few contacts that will come through in our activities, and then the contact account should be created as well. So we see that with a few people that I work with, and we have the activities here as well. So now I can come to the accounts. We see the accounts in the system. We can add them manually. They will also come through. It's about a 15-minute sync where the activities will come through. And then if we need to, we can always create a deal. And with the deal, let's say that I want to create a contract automatically. What I'd recommend is setting up your templates first, but you can create a deal with either a quote. So the idea with the quote is it's like a proposal going out, getting the verification from the customer before it comes back for contract signature. And then you can send that out for contract as well. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a contract template. So I'm going to call this service agreement. And I'm going to go ahead and generate this template with AI. So there's a few questions that will prompt the AI generation of this contract. So payment structure, typically we work with monthly retainers, and it's month to month, and we'll say the amount of the retainer is $5,000. So there's a few other options that you can set up here. I live in Colorado, so we'll put Colorado there, and then we'll go ahead and hit generate. So it does take a minute because it's going out to AI to generate this contract. Once the contract's generated, you're able to insert different variables like the client name. So that way, if you want to use this template multiple times, oftentimes what we would do is just we'd have a standard template that we would use with our clients, and we would either work off of that to create a custom contract, or if it was just the standard agreement, we would send that out. So with these templates, it's really helpful to have something like this where you can just input the client name and it will essentially generate the contracts for you with a click of the button when you're ready. So I'll go ahead and we'll pause and wait for the contract to generate, and then we'll dive through how to work with the template and send an actual contract out. Okay, now that the contract is generated, we see the data in here with the variables. So that because this is a template, the effective date is, and provider name, phone number, client, this is all going to be populated at the time that the contract is generated. You can make edits if you want in terms of changing the size or updating the contract as it comes through. This is more or less templated language. So with these templates, I guess two things. First, make sure that you're getting legal counsel to review this contract. And then also if you do get updates to that, you can always bring kind of import those directly into ServeSwift, so that way you can use contracts of your own making. The idea of this is to kind of speed up the process in generating that first contract. And I'll go ahead and save that as a default template. And there you have it. You have the contract template. Now when we go to a deal, when we create a new deal, let's say that I'm going to do a deal with ServeSwift, then I can pull the account in. Maybe it's $1,000 deal, or I guess this was a $3,000 deal. So again, that's estimated value. So not required, but I'll go ahead and create a contract. And then you see that it uses the service agreement default from there. So I can go ahead and create the deal and everything's set. So with this deal, you can print it off. You could send it directly, and you see that it selects the signer that's pulled from the CRM, and you can choose how you're going to send it with the built-in ServeSwift eSign, or if you wanted to use Dropbox, you can purchase additional sends if you're on the free account, or if you're on an upgraded account, you have a few sends every month with Dropbox. Dropbox just has some added capabilities in terms of how you're sending that off. And then for compliance reasons, ServeSwift is still very nascent, very early in terms of our capability. So Dropbox is more robust. But if you just need a simple signature, the ServeSwift eSign will serve that capacity. So that's the first step: setting up your CRM and then setting up your contracts or quotes with the ServeSwift system. So yeah, if you have any questions, please reach out.